Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a massive historical question about a chain of events that literally changed the world. As we look at the whole history of the British Empire, in this series, we constantly have to ask ourselves, was the empire a source of pride, a cause of shame, or is it something way more complicated that just doesn't fit into a neat little box? Well, to figure that out, we've got to start right at the beginning with Britain's first major empire in America and look at how spectacularly it all fell apart.
All right, let's jump right in. We've got a quick three-part roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the explosive story of the American colonies. Second, we'll look at two seriously mind-bending historical facts. And finally, a knowledge check quiz at the end, so definitely keep your ears open. Okay, part one, the story. To really grasp the American Revolution, we first need to understand just how incredibly powerful Britain was right at this exact moment.
So picture this. It's the 1760s, and Britain is at its absolute peak in North America. I mean, they had built something truly extraordinary. 13 bustling colonies stretching right down the eastern seaboard, home to roughly 2 million settlers. And these places were booming. They were producing tobacco, cotton, timber, which was making British merchants incredibly wealthy. Plus, coming off a massive victory in the 7 Years' War, Britain boasted the world's most powerful navy and an unshakable grip on the continent. But here is the wild part. This entire monumental colonial achievement, it was completely lost in under 20 years. How on earth does a power that dominant lose the whole shebang so incredibly fast?
Well, it all started with a fundamental clash over power. Now, you've probably heard the famous rallying cry, no taxation without representation, but we have to realize this wasn't just some catchy bumper sticker slogan. It was a really precise legal argument. See, the British Navigation Acts forced colonial trade to go strictly through Britain. This made British merchants rich, but it really frustrated the colonists. On top of that, Britain had racked up some massive debts protecting those colonies during the 7 Years' War, and Parliament decided, well, the colonists should foot the bill through new taxes. The huge problem here, American colonists had absolutely zero members of Parliament. They were being taxed by a government they literally had no voice in. So this was fundamentally an argument about power and the basic right to consent, not just about handing over money.
What's really fascinating here is how fast things spiraled out of control. It didn't just jump straight to all-out war. It was this steady drumbeat of explosive flashpoints. In 1770, you have the Boston Massacre, where British soldiers fired into a crowd of protesters, killing 5. Then, in 1773, comes the famous Boston Tea Party. Colonists actually dumped 342 chests of British tea right into the harbor. But look at Britain's reaction. Instead of calming things down, they passed the so-called Intolerable Acts, closing Boston Harbor entirely to punish them. And this is crucial. Every single harsh, punitive response from Britain, which was meant to crush the rebellion, actually made things worse. It completely backfired and united all 13 colonies against them, leading right up to the first shots fired at Lexington and Concord in 1775.
But, declaring independence and actually winning a war are two totally different things. They made it official on July 4th, 1776, sure, but the American Continental Army was poorly supplied and going up against literally the most professional military on the planet. So what actually turned the tide? France. Yep, still absolutely furious over their own defeat in the 7 Years' War, the French decided to fund, arm, and eventually fight right alongside the Americans. This quest for French revenge was the game-changer, culminating at the Battle of Yorktown in 1781. A combined American and French force surrounded the British Army and forced them to surrender. By 1783, the United States was officially a recognized nation.
And this brings us to one of the most incredible paradoxes in history. Losing the American colonies was Britain's most humiliating territorial defeat, and yet it actually forced Britain to pivot its imperial energy entirely toward Asia. They dramatically expanded the East India Company's grip on India, and since they couldn't send convicts to America anymore, they established Australia as a penal colony in 1788. So losing one empire literally helped them build a much, much bigger one. But we have to look at the darker side of this story too. For indigenous peoples, the American Revolution wasn't a story of liberty. Before the war, Britain had actually put strict limits on Western expansion to manage political relations with indigenous nations. Once the British were gone, those constraints totally vanished. The result was a rapid, violent westward expansion by the new republic that was an absolute catastrophe for indigenous peoples.
All right, let's take a quick breather. Part 2. Two interesting historical facts. History is rarely black and white, so let's look at some deep contradictions and fascinating what-ifs from this time.
This first fact brilliantly illustrates a really profound contradiction baked right into modern history. The Declaration of Independence famously states that all men are created equal. Yet, the man who wrote those words, Thomas Jefferson, owned around 600 enslaved people over his lifetime. He was writing about universal liberty while legally holding human beings as property. And what's even more devastating is that Jefferson's original draft of the Declaration actually included a fierce passage attacking King George III for supporting the slave trade. But delegates from the southern colonies, whose wealth relied entirely on slavery, flat out refused to sign it, so the passage was deliberately removed. The founding document of American freedom was quite literally edited to protect the institution of slavery.
Fact number 2 is a massive historical counterfactual. Did you know that after losing America, Britain seriously debated abandoning the whole idea of having an empire entirely? In 1776, the economist Adam Smith published The Wealth of Nations, and he argued that colonies were actually a huge burden. He said they were ridiculously expensive to defend, morally problematic, and just bad for the economy. So for a brief window in the 1780s, British politicians were so completely shell-shocked by losing America that they genuinely considered walking away from the empire game for good. So what stopped them? Well, massive, undeniable profits started rolling in from the East India Company in India, and that debate was pretty much instantly settled.
Okay, part 3, the knowledge check. Let's see how much of this history stuck with you. I'm going to read the question and the 4 options, so listen closely and lock in your answers.
Question 1. What did the phrase "no taxation without representation" mean, and why was it so powerful? Is it A. American colonists just wanted lower taxes on all goods? B. American colonists were being taxed by Parliament but had no elected representatives there, meaning they were governed without consent? C. The colonists wanted their own currency? Or D. British merchants were taxing American ships without permission?
Correct. The answer is B. American colonists were required to pay taxes imposed by the British Parliament. But because they had 0 MPs, being governed and taxed without their consent was their ultimate grievance.
Question 2. What was the Boston Tea Party and what were its consequences? A. A peaceful meeting of colonial leaders. B. A trade deal between Britain and American merchants. C. Colonists threw 342 chests of British tea into Boston Harbor in 1773, and Britain's harsh response ended up uniting the colonies. Or D. A riot over bread prices in Boston.
You got it. The answer is C. Colonists dumped 342 chests of tea into the harbor, and Britain's punitive response of closing the port completely backfired, uniting all 13 colonies against British rule.
Question 3. What role did France play in the American Revolution? A. France tried to mediate a peace between Britain and the colonies. B. France funded, armed, and ultimately fought alongside the revolutionaries, seeking revenge for their defeat in the 7 Years' War. C. France remained completely neutral. Or D. France invaded Canada to distract Britain.
Spot on. It's B. Seeking revenge for the 7 Years' War, France funded and fought right alongside the Americans, which led directly to that decisive victory at Yorktown. Question 4. How did losing America paradoxically help Britain build an even bigger empire? A. Britain used money from American taxes to fund new colonies. B. Britain redirected its imperial energy toward India and established Australia as a convict colony. C. Losing America made Britain focus solely on trade instead of settling colonies. Or D. Britain received huge compensation from America that funded new expansion.
The correct answer is B. Losing their first empire directly forced Britain to establish a penal colony in Australia and drastically ramp up their presence in India.
All right, final question. Question 5. Why was the American Revolution a catastrophe for many indigenous peoples? A. Indigenous peoples had supported Britain and were now punished. B. Before independence, Britain had constrained colonial expansion, but after independence, those constraints disappeared and the U.S. expanded rapidly and violently. C. The new U.S. government gave indigenous lands away to British loyalists. Or D. The revolution actually had no particular effect on indigenous peoples. And the final correct answer is B. The devastating loss of British constraints meant the new republic expanded westward with rapid violence, which was catastrophic for indigenous nations. So, stepping back and looking at all of this, we really have to ask ourselves, was the birth of American liberty actually just the catalyst that pushed Britain to build a much larger global empire? It's a lot to think about, right? You guys have done brilliantly following along with this explainer today. Next time, we're going to dive into the East India Company,
and we'll explore how a simple group of merchants with a royal charter somehow ended up ruling the entirety of India. See you then!